In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers podcast.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back to you with another impromptu live stream here, talking about this brand new trade that Scott Fitterer has made for the Carolina Panthers. We already have a bunch of people jumping into the chat room. Low Key, Carolina M, Sports Blitz, Poppin' Bullets, Rockhead, JD, Jeff. What's going on? I'm joined by my partner in crime today, CK, here reacting to this news of this big time trade. How are you, brother?
Bro, listen, I saw somebody at work literally IM'd me and made my day 10 times better. He was like, we got Stephon Gilmore. I'm like, quit lying to me, dude. When you hear, here's the thing that's crazy as Panthers fans.
Yeah.
Right. We've never seen this.
Never.
Right? And
it's so foreign.
It's so I don't even know how to feel at this point. This is an interesting feeling because every time something like this happens, Cody, every time a big name is cut, we're like, oh, we should go get him. But we're like,
never do.
We're not going to.
The Hurney era is officially over, CK. It's been over. Scott Fitterer has been making moves. Let's jump into this. The Carolina Panthers have traded for Stephon Gilmore, formerly of the New England Patriots. He is now a Carolina Panther. The Panthers have traded a 2023 sixth-round pick in order to receive Stephon Gilmore. Now, let's go over some of the details of this. Right now, he would still be on the PUP list. So Stephon Gilmore is not eligible to play for us until, is it week 6 or is it after week 6?
It's, I think, week 6. He can come back. He's eligible to return.
Okay. Yeah, so
I'm going to read back up on that, but I'm pretty sure it's week 6 that he will be eligible to return.
Okay, week 6. And what opponent? Let me bring up the schedule real quick. That would be, okay, Jeff is saying week 7 in the chat room. Yeah, a lot of other people are saying week 7, so it's after week 6. So that would mean his first game that he would be able to play would be versus the New York Giants, week 7. That's October the 24th. And, man, what are we thinking about this move? Because, well, first, let's break off this, too. The Panthers are saying right now that they want him to play the rest of this year and basically see how he plays for us. And that we're not necessarily going to just, sign him a big-time contract. We want to see what he's going to do for us. And you really hit the nail on the head. In previous years, the Panthers were never involved in any big-time trades for players that might be on the block. But CK, now we've done it, 2 times in the span of 2 weeks?
Yeah.
First
robbery.
Yeah, first CJ. Yeah, for pennies on the dollar, we bring in CJ Henderson. CJ Henderson's going to come in, and he's a young player on a rookie contract for us. But also, it really says that the Panthers view themselves as a very serious contender, and that they don't want their defense to lose any steam, especially after, frankly, embarrassing performance against the Dallas Cowboys. So, first off, what do we think about this move? I mean, do we think Stephon Gilmore is going to be the same Stephon Gilmore that has been putting up 90-something PFF grades for the Patriots the past few years?
Remind me what his injury was.
I actually don't know. Chat, you might have to help out, but this is kind of impromptu. It's trying to get all information that we have available to us. I hadn't really been following. I honestly didn't even know that he was on the PUP list either. So, I mean, this isn't a situation that I had been really following very closely. So it's kind of a big surprise to us. My brother, a New Orleans Saints fan, by the way, just called me up out of nowhere. I hadn't been on Twitter. And he's like, dude, have you heard? You haven't heard? And I'm like, no, heard what? Like, what are you freaking out about? Is that the Panthers just traded for Stephon Gilmore? So then I jump online and trying to figure out everything that I can. Justin is telling me that apparently he had a groin surgery
Gotcha.
at one point in time. So he's still kind of recovering from that. And also, how about this? Let's just mention this while we're at it. Stephon Gilmore is neighbors with Scott Fitterer. He lives 3 doors down from him. So, I mean, that's kind of a fun little thing. It's also cool to know that Stephon still lives in the Charlotte area.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, it's his hometown. He lives there. I like. Here's the thing that's so interesting to me. At one point, it was, it is now said that he is going to be going to the Packers, and and all this stuff, and like that's expected. He's going to go to a big market team. With Aaron Rodgers at the helm, maybe make that defense better. But out of nowhere, out of left field, all of the places that he was possibly going to go, people were talking about Tampa Bay, people talking about the Ravens, people talking about Green Bay, like all of these places. Not one person thought that this guy was coming to the Carolina Panthers. And that has a lot to do with what we did last week with getting CJ Henderson. Here's the thing. We have a question mark around whether or not he is going to want to stay with the team, right? That's a big part of this, is whether or not, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't. It is his hometown team. It's kind of, it's super convenient for him, right? He doesn't have to worry about, I'm assuming there's going to be a cost of living decrease that he's going to be dealing with. Obviously, taxes are going to be better. And he's not going to have to worry about paying for another house in another place while he's playing during the season. So this guy's got there's all the reasons why he should want to stay here in Charlotte. But if he does, then we have the we thought CJ Henderson was going to be Dante Jackson's undoing. This is going to be Dante Jackson's free market. Like, basically, this is his prove it year for other teams, because I don't see how the Panthers keep CJ Henderson, keep JC Horn, keep Dante Jackson, and keep Stephon Gilmore. Like, that's just not, there's not enough people to cover.
Yeah, and again, apparently the Panthers are down to the 11th most cap space in the league after this move. We were number 1, but now we are, I want to say we're number 11. And listen, even after the CJ Henderson trade, I really didn't think that it really meant something negative for Dante Jackson. Apparently, Scott Fitterer or the beat reporters have put out that this doesn't say anything one way or the other about Dante. And listen, I got to be honest with you. I didn't feel that way after the CJ Henderson signing. I definitely do now. And listen, I think a lot of that discussion is based on whether or not Dante Jackson sees himself as an outside corner, because now the Panthers have 3 guys that are much more highly touted as outside corners. So I think unless Dante Jackson is willing to move to free safety or move to nickel, I really don't know what his future with this team is too. Granted, Stephon Gilmore has to come in here and ball out. I mean, he has to play hard, play fast, and we think that he's going to. Can't Handle the Truth podcast, I've been saying the same thing, man. I've been wanting to see Dante Jackson in the slot, see if he can hold it down there, give him some snaps there, and if he's willing to do it, then let him. If he isn't, then I really don't think this spells to be a long tenure for Dante Jackson. And CK, I'll even float this by you. Now, to me, this says Dante Jackson could even be trade bait.
Yeah.
If they don't see him potentially as a long-term player, he's a fast, young, dynamic corner. And, they've been making moves. There's rumors that the Panthers aren't done making moves. Maybe they might trade for an offensive lineman. Maybe they might try and go out and get some more depth at the linebacker position. Right. But I don't know, man. This is it's definitely a move that I was not expecting to wake up and hear today about the Carolina Panthers. I think it makes our defensive backfield nasty. And listen, it's a wake up call to our front seven. You had a bad performance against the Dallas Cowboys, but now it's time to turn it on, man. Get back into a rhythm. We have this defensive backfield that's going to be able to play fast and aggressive. Man, it's time to do work, and I hope that message is reverberating throughout our locker room, because it's obvious that our coaches and our front office believes that this is a team that's ready to win right now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of Panther fans may not feel that, depending on our roster, but I do, man. One, you all know that I feel the offensive line answers are already on the roster. I don't even think the Panthers need to go out and make a trade for more offensive linemen. Their names are Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen. But yeah, I really do think that these coaches and this front office, they believe in what we have right now, CK.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, that's something that I believe wholeheartedly. I mean, listen, they want to win right now, but I also think they see CJ Henderson and they also see nobody else on this squad. Dante Jackson can do some. He's not a veteran. CJ Henderson can learn a lot from Stephon Gilmore. And I think there is going to be almost a value in having a peer like Stephon Gilmore for CJ Henderson. If Dante, listen, I don't know how we're feeling about this, because Dante Jackson has been one of the bright spots of the secondary as well this year. If we end up trading him, I don't know how I feel about that, because we're still thin at cornerback either way, so I don't necessarily think that trading him is the move right now, because if CJ Henderson gets hurt, which he has been in the past, right? If Stephon Gilmore, now you've got two, if you trade Dante, your two starting cornerbacks are going to be Stephon Gilmore and CJ Henderson, who both are coming off of season-ending injuries last year. That's my biggest concern.
And how about this? Not even for CJ Henderson, but let's say there's a scenario where Stephon Gilmore wants to give us a hometown discount and stay here in Carolina and be here, especially if we're able to be a legitimate contender and he feels like he can win a Super Bowl here, kind of like how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers players did last year after they won a Super Bowl. Imagine what kind of veteran mentorship that could be for guys like J.C. Horn, which, by the way, both of them are Carolina Gamecocks, so they have that in common. They have that kind of Carolina brotherhood between them. But now you add in CJ Henderson, and let's be real. We all think that, CJ Henderson is kind of an emotional young man, too. That might be just the kind of presence needed to keep his mind on playing the best possible football that CJ Henderson can play. Yeah. Because now you can look across from you and you can see the dream of what you're wanting to be in the NFL. Yeah. Stephon Gilmore has been, for the past 3 or 4 years, the best cornerback in the NFL. It's between him and Jalen Ramsey. And he's been absolutely baller. Now, he's going to want a contract after this year. And CK, we also need to continue to talk about this in context of, we know that we're probably going to want to pay DJ Moore.
Right.
And here comes Brian Burns. And receiver money and defensive end money are not cheap. By the way, we also love what Hassan Reddick has been doing. And Hassan Reddick is another guy on a 1-year deal that we might want to re-up to.
If you tell me what the reason we're doing this is right now, is they want to win a Super Bowl. And the reason they want to do that is because, like you had talked about, all of these guys are going to want to come back next year, right? They're going to want their money. Don't get me wrong. And that's the problem with the rookie contracts, is they're going to want to get a big contract, right? Because they haven't been paid to the extent. So there is an issue with that. But these guys may want to stick around, and I'm not going to say they're going to give us a discount, but they might very well give us an opportunity to maybe keep them on the squad, even if it isn't as much as what another squad might be offering them at that point in time. It's something that is encouraging to see, but I also do worry, like you said, that this is a one year. This is why they're so all in on this, is because they know that there's only so much to go around next year.
Yeah, man. And we really kind of have to see what he does this year. What kind of team, what kind of squad we're gonna have. Hey, I saw this comment. I wanted to throw it up just because it needed saying. I picture 704 Charlotte bound, smiling up in heaven. Hey, man, all right, rest in power to 704 bound Charlotte. He's still smiling down, looking at this football team with love. Hey, man, he's going to continue to keep pounding. We all going to do it, man. Shout out 704 and his family, man, Stephon Gray. Yeah, so listen, I kind of do think that this is a prove-it year for Stephon Gilmore, right? Apparently, he wanted a big new contract, and the Patriots, they weren't willing to let off on that kind of money. So, if he plays into a big-time role this year, knowing that you have C.J. Henderson and J.C. Horn right behind him, maybe they view Stephon Gilmore as a luxury for right now. Maybe he comes in and contributes, and it's just this year. Right. And he allows us to be competitive until J.C. Horn, who's kind of like a younger version of Stephon Gilmore, can come in and be successful himself. So I really don't know what to make of this as far as the future is concerned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different scenarios that can play out here.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. We're going to be paying him the most money any cornerback in the history of the game has ever had. And the reason I say that is because we're paying his full year salary over for basically a 10-game span. So he's getting a tremendous amount of money to play cornerback on a very, short season for him. So, I mean, that is another part of it. That's why it was only a 6th rounder, because if he had 3 years left on his deal, that's a different story. If we were at the beginning of the season, maybe that's a different story. But we're at this point in time where they were literally on the cusp of releasing him. And that kind of got the phones ringing a little bit. And why would they release him and take the hit when they could just trade him and get something in return and not take the hit? So it's quite interesting. But that $5.5 million is over a 10-game span, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and apparently, again, we got a deal, man. Scott Fitterer is out here fleecing fools. First, it's the Jaguars. Now it's the Patriots. I mean, dude, we really, that both of these have been great deals for us. But I saw this question pop up in the chat, and I think it bears to kind of repeat now that we're on this. Are the Panthers done? I mean, now Matt Rule is, even in his press conferences, is being more open that, there are real problems on this offensive line. So my question is this, are the Panthers going to make a trade? I personally hope not. And if you're all a fan of this podcast, you know why. I mean, I feel the answers are already on our roster, but I want to pitch the answer to you, CK, and to everyone in our chat room. Knowing how aggressive Scott Fitterer has been, is there any scenario in which Scott Fitterer in the front office thinks, hey, you know what, man? We really need to go out there and make this team a little bit better and add to our offensive line.
Right.
What do you think the chances of that are?
I mean, I think that, like you said, I mean, it's hard to go out and justify spending money out, spending draft capital or getting rid of a player that might be super needed, especially if it's Dante Jackson. When we have offensive linemen that haven't even taken the field yet, that haven't had an opportunity to prove their worth yet. I don't know that we're going to go out and make that push, but listen, I mean, if there's anything that we know is that Scott Fitterer doesn't sit on his hands during the season. This is a season that they're putting in. I said it in a tweet, apparently the GM position isn't just an off-season gig. And we felt like for a long time that it's just been an off-season gig, because only movement that we've ever seen happen has at least for people being brought in, has happened in the off season. And so now with that mindset, knowing that he is willing to go out there and do trades and do all these different things, it's hard to see why, it's hard to say that it's not possible,
Yeah. So 2 points of interest real quick. KB, I see that you've left cat calls. Me and Tony, we're going to be doing some recording tonight. We have some guests coming on that we're going to be interviewing. We're going to do another show. So I'll save your cat call for the night when Tony's back on here. He'll be able to get the cat calls up and running real quick. But also, I wanted to, make it a point right now to bring up something. Let me make sure I can find it right here. The lovely Miss Lynn Leonhardt says, and Cam Erving is out with an injury. And we need to talk about this, man, because what have I been telling y'all? What have I been telling everyone who would listen for the past 5 fucking months now? That it is inevitable that Brady Christensen is going to be playing right tackle and Taylor Moton is going to the left side. I've been saying this forever, that it was inevitable. And now the Panthers are in that scenario, in a situation where they're going to have to do that no matter what. It's absolutely baffling to me. And listen, I did say that I felt like it would take an injury or something to happen to this football team for them to make the necessary changes. And now, CK, I feel like you're finally starting to see that happen. And here I go again, patting my own self on the back, calling myself Nostradamus, because I predict these things.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, this is this game against the Dallas Cowboys could have been the best thing that happened to us if it causes us to reshuffle the offensive line in the proper way.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, I think one year, one of our playoff years, I think we had like a total of like 30 different, offensive line, rotations that were taking place to try to find where people fit. I think we need to actually start experimenting with our offensive line. And you can say that you do it in practice all day, every day, but we all know that that's a different, let's be real about some stuff. Tom Brady didn't beat out Drew Bledsoe in practice. He was a GOAT now, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Leighton Vander Esch wasn't somebody who was considered to be an incredible linebacker until he started to play in real-time games, right?
Yeah.
It's just these things don't happen. Josh Norman didn't get his opportunity, and he showed out in the middle of the 2015 season. These are things that you never are going to know until you get them an opportunity to actually play in the real-life game. And so I agree, Cody. I think we need to see these guys play. I think they need to contribute. And who knows, maybe they can be the answers before we start spending. We already spent draft capital, and it's on those guys.
Yeah. Shout out to 89 J Stubbs for the $4.99. He says Tepper hasn't had a playoff run as an owner. Sounds like he's had enough and finally ready to make a push.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. And really, again, I think it tells you what. David Tepper we have to mention too, because we know that he's tired of the mediocrity. But now, we have a coaching staff and a front office that really does view this as a good football team. We've mentioned on this podcast numerous times, Sam Darnold has put up 300-yard passing yard performances behind this terrible offensive line. Even in spite of that, Sam is looking to be a franchise-style quarterback. So, now when you add Stephon Gilmore to this equation, let's take a step back and imagine a scenario where all 3 of those dudes are on the field. Dante Jackson, or 4 technically, if we're going to push this down the road, and let's just dream and pretend that we do sign Dante. But having Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, and now Stephon Gilmore, you still have Jeremy Chin roaming around back there. Dude, I'm telling you, the Panthers might be building their very own Legion of Boom down here in Charlotte, man.
Yeah.
I love to see it, bro.
Yeah, you can't help but be excited about what's going on. The biggest thing is, and we talked about it. I mean, we have Stephon Gilmore, we have AJ Bouye, who's actually going to those 2 guys, I think, and we talked about it here on the somebody had mentioned it here. Those 2 guys are going to be able to, I think, be an incredible asset for CJ Henderson as he kind of comes along. Yeah. I don't mean to keep on bringing up CJ, but I think it's so important that we realize this is his second year having been a ninth overall pick in a draft last year. We have a seventh overall pick from the draft this year, and JC Horn. I mean, we have a lot of pieces and we have a lot of talent on this squad. And if we can have these guys put it together, along with coaching, actually using them in the effective manner, which I'm confident in Phil Snow's ability to do that, dude, these guys are possibly going to like you said, I don't want to say Legion of Boom because I think this could be in a league of its own, hopefully. If we can get a linebacker, a middle linebacker, I'm not going to shit on Jermaine Carter Jr., but if we can get a middle linebacker that is like a Bobby Wagner type style, that is able to be, somebody that is, like a Luke, anybody really, if you want to put it out there, then I think we have an opportunity to be that. But we're missing a few pieces, but this secondary is definitely shaping up to be a very, very good.
A lot of people are mentioning Jalen Smith still. They just released him, man. Are the Panthers might not be done for the day if they feel that we have a deficit at the linebacker position. We didn't think that we had a real deficit at the corner position, even after trading for CJ. Apparently, the Panthers thought different. So maybe they will add to this linebacker core. I'm loving some of the names in the chat. Justin says Legion of Thieves. He brought that up on the Friday Free for All. That's a good one. I love Carolina Reaper no matter what, because that's just a dope-ass, fiery-ass Carolina Pepper, and you don't want that smoke with a Carolina Reaper, bro. That would tear you a new asshole. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. I mean, because it does bring up the question. Right now,
Nightmare on Mint Street. I'm sorry, I like that one. That's awesome.
Nightmare on Mint Street. There we go. Listen, it does bring up a question. If this squad starts to get going, and there is a clear deficit at the linebacker position, but there is it's giving you vibes of like this is going to be a squad. Do you think that encourages somebody like a Luke to come out of retirement and just to be able to play? Just to be able to hey, listen, let's take it one last shot. They need me there, or is it like he is done? Like, do you think there's a shot that signing like Stephon Gilmore, getting CJ Henderson, having a JC Horn on the squad, even though he might not be there until later in the year, hopefully, and then that front seven, that you want to talk about that can get to the quarterback. I mean, this is a defense that I think a linebacker would want to be on.
Listen, I think it probably, if it's Luke, listen, that guy is a dog, right? That guy is probably wishing that he was still out there. The only thing that really just scares me is that it was concussion related, CK. And I don't think that, if you're having those issues, I don't necessarily know if it just gets better,
Check out the Panthers. They've updated their Twitter handle and then they've changed their profile picture.
The Panthers, you said?
Yeah, the Panthers.
Hold on. Let me check this out right quick.
Our social media team is the best.
All right. That requires a share. Everybody's got to see it. Everybody's got to see it. Profile picture on Twitter for the Carolina Panthers. It's your boy, Scott Fitterer, on the phone, making deals.
Oh, man.
My man's out here getting it, bro. Getting it. Dude, I love it, man.
They changed their name to N on every deal. Like, listen, it's... I hate to be giddy because I can't stress enough. We were as much as we think there has been some less than incredible decisions by Scott and this coaching staff. For the most part, he killed the draft. He absolutely destroyed trades with CJ Henderson and Stephon Gilmore, trading for pennies, basically. Like, these guys were traded for pocket lint and a high five. Right, that's really what it was traded for right here. I mean, these are incredible moves. And listen, I think that they have confidence in this coaching staff to be able to get CJ Henderson back on track. And obviously a Stephon Gilmore coming in here is going to offer a veteran presence we haven't had in a secondary at that level in a while. So that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that hasn't really dawned on us yet. Like, this is a chiseled veteran, man. This guy has played some NFL football quite literally at the highest level that you can play in one of the toughest positions, which is cornerback. What do you think this does from just a veteran perspective? Like, having an older guy that's been there, has been to the Super Bowl, has won a couple. I mean, this guy, what do you think he does from a leadership and even a morale standpoint even?
I mean, he's going to tell you how to make it happen, right? Like, he's been there. He's been to the top of the mountain, and he's going to, there's a roadmap to get there. And everybody, one thing that none of these coaches on this coaching staff have done is get to the mountaintop and actually win a Super Bowl, right? Yeah. None of them have. And the only people on this team now that have had an opportunity to go out and win a Super Bowl is Matt Paradis, I think, and Stephon Gilmore. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think there's any other ones out there on this squad that have won a Super Bowl. And now Stephon Gilmore is going to be able to offer a unique way of dealing with how to handle the weeks, going through the day every week, making sure you're that you're watching film appropriately. I don't know if CJ Henderson needs that, but I think this is going to offer a leadership, in that backfield that I'm not sure that we have right now.
Yeah. Hey, CK, I want to tell you something that I don't know if you knew or not. Guess what, man?
What?
Our chat room, they've got a fetish.
Okay.
You know what kind of fetish it is?
What is it?
They like being shamed.
You don't say.
Why don't you give them what they're looking for, partner?
Ladies and gentlemen, you've joined in on an impromptu episode of the Carolina Cat Chronicles. After an incredible trade for the one and only Stephon Gilmore, there's 130 of you legends in here, and if you haven't hit that like button yet, this is for you. Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 137 people watching, 64 thumbs up. Hey, y'all, it's the middle of the day on a Wednesday, and we're coming out here reacting and giving you this fantastic content. Please hit the thumbs up, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And you already know that notification bell is going to let you know every single time we go live to chat it up, just like we're doing now, man. So, hey, help the channel grow. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. So tell a friend, hit the subscribe button, man. Help us continue to grow and, continue to make the C3 podcast possible, man. So Absolutely. Much appreciated.
Yep.
CK, man. So let me just get this. Your gut instinct. Are we done for the day? Are we going to be on here in another 30 minutes after we get off of here? Reacting to another big time, which I guess I should be checking Twitter to make That's sure I'm not missing.
I'm just refreshing. This was a big move, and without putting any, I know a lot of people would like to see more moves, but you got to keep in mind as a coaching staff trying to bring on brand new people on, in addition to preparing for a new team, is going to be extra work. And so are they going to be prepared to bring in another big name person that's going to be expected to play game one when they first join up, or are they going to focus on the guys that they have? I don't know the answer to that. But I think that's going to be a consideration whether or not they're going to continue to make moves. I don't know that they will, but I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Fitterer pulls the trigger, because I don't know that he cares necessarily about whether or not they're ready or not.
Do you want them to make a move? And if so, which one?
I mean, I think our linebacking core is a big issue right now. And It has been since day one, and Shaq Thompson covers a lot of that up. But there's one name that you haven't been hearing at all, and that's Jermaine Carter Jr., which isn't a bad thing. It's not mean like he's getting beat, but at the same time, he hasn't necessarily been the leader that you want at middle linebacker, at least from what I can tell. And we'll see, if that continues to progress. Maybe I need to go back and watch more of his tape and watch what he's doing in particular. But with that position, you would think that there would be a little bit more involved.
Yeah, and then there are still names out there that are being floated. Andre Dillard was somebody that was on the trade block at one point in time at left tackle. We're going to be playing that guy this weekend. He's going to be a starter at left tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles. So that kind of seems less likely. Again, man, you all know I'm a broken record, dude. I think that these injuries that we've been going through and the Panthers getting their asses whooped on the O-line, it's a blessing in disguise, man. I feel like that's my motto for the 2021 season, is just blessing in disguise. Like, everything is a blessing in disguise. Nobody wanted Sam Darnold because of what it was in New York. And now we're like, oh, okay, damn, Sam Darnold's pretty good. Now our defense has stepped up in a big way. Christian McCaffrey going down. I said that was a blessing in disguise because now we had to open up our playbook more. And I even think that Dallas loss might be a blessing in disguise, because if that's going to be the catalyst that causes the dominoes to fall in the right way of the Panthers reshuffling their offensive line properly, dude, I'll happily take a competitive loss to one of the best football teams in the NFL if everything that we're seeing now is the end result, including us trading for Stephon Gilmore.
Dude, that just to, like, I want to put this into perspective, guys. We just got, like, on Madden, I already went on there and I've added him to the roster, even though I can't play him this Sunday because he's not technically playing. He is rated as a 97 in Madden. And again, it's a video game. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that this is the end all be all. But that's because he is a phenomenal cornerback when he's healthy. Like, we got him for a 6th round pick. Like, let that sink in. A 6th round pick. Who did we pick in the 6th round this year, Cody?
I believe it was Dante Brown, or it might have been a long snapper too.
I think it was the long snapper.
Freaking long snapper that's no longer on the football team, dude. That's crazy.
Well, he's on the he got injured reserve, right?
Dude,
he's still
like
on the squad. I just don't think he's I don't think
he's out of sight, out of mind to me at this point in time. He ain't doing shit for us right now. But yeah, a 6th rounder, and not even this next draft. Honestly, we couldn't afford to be giving up anything more in this next draft anyway. We already don't have a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. So, but yeah, a 6th round pick, not this year, but next. Dude, I'm all about that, man. I am all about that, dude. And dude, to echo your sentiment that you started the podcast with, how long have we been Panther fans? And just whenever you hear that someone is up or available or a good player, you're like, Herney will never pull the trigger on that shit, dude. That is not about to happen. But here we are, man. Here we are. Scott Fitterer is out here continuously trying to add to this football team, man. Yeah. And I think we've been very fair about Scott Fitterer on the C3 podcast. We give him his credit when the credit is deserved. We also tell you the mistakes that he's made. But we've also been big on just giving him credit to say that he's able to adjust. He's able to adjust to injuries. He's able to adjust to players underperforming and trying to get value for them. CK, that's another one of the reasons I don't feel like Dante Jackson is very long for this football team. Yeah, I think he could potentially be trade bait. Now, they might want to wait another week or two before the deadline to let him get a little more tape to show a team really what he's capable of doing. He's on a contract here too, so it's something similar to what we're going through with Gilmore, and that he's not assured to be on that team the rest of the season. But yeah, if you're a team that needs help at the corner position, dude, I'm just telling you, chat, you may not agree with me or not. And chat, let me know your opinions. Do you consider Dante Jackson to be on the trade block? Because in my mind, yeah, it absolutely says that he is. What do you think, CK?
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think that you put him on the trade block right now. I mean, you have two, like I said, I mean, you have, and even Dante himself is a bit, injury prone, specifically last year. You have 3 cornerbacks that are your starting cornerbacks that have been known to not be able to finish a season. And I'm not going to say injury prone because I don't necessarily think it's fair to call CJ Henderson injury prone. I don't think it's necessarily fair to call Stephon Gilmore injury prone. These guys are dealing with things that are were problematic at best. Dante Jackson is the one that I would probably put more injury prone than anybody out of this list. But that being said, I don't think you make an already thin group of cornerbacks thinner by getting rid of Dante Jackson.
Yeah, true. And a lot of people are making the point too that he's not going to be able to. Gilmore isn't going to be able to play until week 7 anyway.
Exactly.
Especially not knowing what injuries might come about too. And I think that's the whole point of even bringing in these other players like CJ Henderson, like Stephon Gilmore. It's because you already had a cornerback tandem that you liked.
Yeah.
You already liked Dante Jackson and JC Horn together. So that kind of tells me that they do like Dante Jackson on the outside. Dante Jackson might want to stay on that outside.
Yeah.
And if anything, this is my honest opinion, and of course I could be wrong, but I think Dante Jackson's future with the Carolina Panthers is dependent upon him being able to play a different position. Right. I do think they would like to try him more at nickel. I do think that potentially they would even want to give him some free safety reps. And people get really angry and emotional when you even consider Dante Jackson at another position. But it's like, dude, we already know that the Panthers value versatile football players that can play more than one position. Is it hard to do? Yes. Is it necessarily fair? No. But it is what it is. And I would encourage Dante to take some snaps at some other positions just so that way, no matter what, he can show himself off to the Panthers and to whatever team might pay him eventually, that he has that within his repertoire.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. It does bring up the conversation here. If we did wait a few weeks, obviously we got to let Stephon Gilmore. When is the trade deadline with the new season being extended?
I will look that up right now.
Because as you continue to go, the value of a cornerback that is a starting caliber, not even necessarily great, but starting caliber, is going to go up for the teams that need a cornerback that are contenders, such as a Packer, a team such as the Bucks, for instance. All of these teams are going to be that are needy for a cornerback are going to pay more, probably substantially more than what the value of that player is, if it means that they can still remain a contender. Now, do we let them continue to be a contender since we are also contenders? I don't know, but I don't think that I have a gut feeling that there's no way they're going to trade Dante Jackson right now.
Yeah. So the trade deadline is November 2nd at 4 p.m.
Okay, so that's right before the Patriots game. Week 9.
So we still have a month, and honestly, we're really not even going to know a whole lot about Stephon Gilmore up until that point because we're not going to see him play until week 7. That's on the road against the New York Giants. So we would essentially be able to see the tandem that we have with Stephon Gilmore and Dante Jackson and AJ Bouye, which is another name that we haven't even mentioned yet, and how he fits into this whole thing. But you would essentially have 2 away games to be able to even see, what this cornerback backfield looks like on the field at the same time. So, yeah, man. Look, we even got a Stephon Gilmore in the chat room already, bro. It's lit out here. Okay,
the GOAT Stephon Gilmore.
We're making moves.
Here's the thing right now. We have a lot of all-in nature with this team right now. I think we're, as Panther fans, all super excited. If you're a Patriots fan, you're probably a little bit pissed off that this is only a 6th rounder that you're getting for a star, cornerback like Stephon Gilmore. And then here's the thing: is as a Panthers fan, you cannot help but be excited about what this team is looking like. Even though there have been some question marks, there's been some injuries, things are lingering. There's a big question mark on the O-line. Christian McCaffrey's back in practice, so there's something to be excited about. But at the end of the day, these guys were able to get star players to come to our team, and for basically, again, nothing. Like, they paid nothing for these guys to come over here, except for, Stephon Gilmore's contract. And a 6th rounder, in 2023. I mean, these are incredible moves that have been made by Scott Fitterer. And if they work out, they may come back to be like one of the greatest moments of a GM's first year in the history of the NFL.
And dude, I'm telling you, man, things are starting to look up. Dude, things are starting to look up and up and up and up. Because what did I tell y'all? Y'all better start calling me by my name, Nostradamus, bro. Because I'm telling you that I predict these things. Look at what John Ellis on Twitter is saying. Spoke with a league evaluator today. They agree it's time to get Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown in the mix, even if it's guard for Christensen. The individual scouted both players and is well connected with Carolina's situation. Here we go, dude. I've been telling you that this would happen, that it would take something like that Dallas game to cause us to reshuffle the O-line, man. And, dude, I'm hoping that this happens, man. Like Justin calls it, man. This dude, Blastoise, bro, we ready to go. We ready to go, man. The Panthers don't need to trade for an offensive lineman. We don't need to be more active. The Panthers have the answer to their offensive line woes on the roster.
How are we feeling about those knee braces, though?
Well, dude, you might need knee braces if you were 375 pounds. You might need some extra help too, bro.
Dude, he's like a freaking. Oh my god, he reminds me of that. I don't remember. I think it was the the second or third Transformers. That little, that little, stocky, destruction Autobot. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. By the way, I'll give credit to Justin forever, man. He's the one that dubbed that Blastoise.
Yeah.
If that catches on, y'all better give my man Justin his credit, bro. That's Blastoise right there. Oh man, I don't even know what to say anymore, dude. Like, hey. I'm so not used to, seeing this, like experiencing these kinds of trades, man.
Right.
Like, dude, it's never been a more exciting time.
No,
to be a fan of the Carolina Panthers.
Not at all. Not at all. Like I said, it's super exciting to see. We have a lot of, even if we're not going to see Stephon Gilmore for a couple of weeks, we don't have tremendously difficult opponents over the next couple of weeks. It does not mean he is not able to come into the practice facility and be a part of the team and learn the system. It might be what we want to see and have him come in and do it that way. And also still offer his wisdom to the young buck there and CJ Henderson. And even Dante Jackson. I mean, Dante Jackson probably can learn a lot because he's never had that level of a contender in his corner either. And so it'll be nice to see that. We'll see, man. We'll see. It's going to be something that's going to be interesting. By the way, I'll go ahead and do this now because we have 200 people watching right now.
You're ahead of me, bro. You're ahead of me. We already did it once, but
we got to do it again, right?
Dude, our chat room has a real fetish, man. And listen, we just deliver on what the people want. So here it is, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen of the C3 Panthers podcast, who have joined us after hearing some incredible news about Stephon Gilmore coming to the Carolina Panthers. If you haven't hit that like button, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I need that affirmation to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing to keep you entertained. Are you not entertained? Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame, man. 200 people watching the show right now, man. If you're just now joining us, we do this all the time, man. We love cutting up with Panther fans. and really any fan, man. We have a Patriot fan in here talking about us making good moves. Hey, man, you can come in here and talk football, man. This is a safe space, especially for Carolina Panther fans. If you have not done so, please hit that like and subscribe. Help this channel grow. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. I know you think we should have more, right? Well, help us out, man. Be that person to hit the subscribe button and show some love. We definitely appreciate you coming to hang out with us in the middle of a Wednesday afternoon. CK, I wanted to mention this to you. Christian McCaffrey is apparently back up in practicing, trying to practice, trying to get ready to go for the Philadelphia Eagles. Easy for me to say.
I'd be more interested to see what the that was 2 hours ago he rolled up there. So probably here in another couple of hours we're going to start to see the press conferences roll in. So if I'm sure we're going to get a bit of an update with that on whether he's going to be possibly playing on Sunday. But yeah, that is a very positive development. That's what you love to see. Especially given that he's only missed 1 week. If he's able to just have 1 week having been missed, I think that's a win for the Panthers right now.
Yeah. Also, Karen Choi says, I think this signing means goodbye to Rashawn Melvin. Yeah, you think? Yeah. I definitely think so too, man. Rashawn Melvin was not looking good in this limited time that we saw him. And hey, man, like when you're being compared to J.C. Horn and C.J. Henderson and Dante Jackson, like, yeah, you might look like a dumbass sometimes, man. But
right,
dude, I don't know, man. But listen, with this whole Christian McCaffrey thing, people might disagree with me, I know. But why are we rushing Christian back? We have 197 people watching. Do any of you feel like the Panthers need Christian McCaffrey to beat Philadelphia? What's the point of rushing CMC back into action?
I think that's
just to have him potentially get hurt again. Like, make sure that he's all the way up to speed before you bring him back. I don't understand what the rush is.
Yeah, I agree, but also that's assuming that he is rushing back, right? That's there's also an aspect to this, and I think we have PTSD from Cam and from Greg Olsen, with their foot injuries, like rushing them back. They ended up getting hurt again. I don't know. If he's healthy, then he's healthy, right? Like Matt just said, if he's healthy, he's healthy. Let him come back and play the game that he was, he's played his entire life. He knows his body better than anybody. And yes, he may be an alpha male and want to be on the field no matter whether he's injured or not. I trust that he isn't going to be putting himself in a position where he's going to be out long term. I have too much respect for Christian McCaffrey to think that he's going to be that type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that too. But we mentioned this last night too. Part of being a coach is being able to save your players from themselves. Christian, we want to have you down the road through, from November into February is what we're hoping, right? So, yeah, but especially knowing how it went last year, that we waited, we brought him back, and then he got hurt again.
Yeah.
Who's to say if that was because they rushed it or not? I don't know. I just don't feel like the Panthers really need Christian McCaffrey to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. On top of that, I think against the Dallas Cowboys, Chuba Hubbard had his best game as an NFL running back. I was very impressed with Chuba, and I think that he continues to grow and get better. Like I said, if you're a rookie in the NFL,
right,
I expect you to make a bunch of young and dumb rookie mistakes. That comes along with the job. But at least you're getting those mistakes out of the way. They're getting reps. They're learning on the job. This is what I've been wanting out of Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen since before the preseason started. So I don't know, man. I'm happy with Chuba. I don't think we need to run Christian back. Edward Moore with a great point. Hamstrings are known to linger. So yeah, man. I just I wouldn't rush him back.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I also don't know. Like, if he gets injured, the problem is we're going to think he got, especially if it's even if it's a different injury, we're going to think, oh, he was rushed back. He shouldn't have been, brought back when he did. Like, even if it's something that has nothing to do with the squad, we're going to feel that way. And listen, I don't know what is going on behind closed doors. I choose to believe that this coaching staff isn't, going to put him out there on the field unless they're confident that he is actually ready. Again, we'll see whether, I mean, we got to look what they did last year. He wanted to come out and play, regardless. And we know that he did there towards the end of the season, but we still held him out because there was no point. We were trying to save him from himself. I don't think they're going to change that narrative today. If they're going to let him play, it's because that he was truly ready.
Yeah, true. I mean, again, I'm hoping that that our coaches have learned from the mistakes of Ron Rivera and just how other players were treated. Yeah, especially considering our athletic trainer Vermillion is now we're learning is like this fucking terrible piece of trash involved in all this other shady shit, man.
Have we got any more insight on that?
I haven't.
Yeah,
like I said, I wasn't even on Twitter today until my brother called me, bombarding me with, "Hey, did you know? Did you know?" I'm like, "Did I know what? You traded for Stephon Gilmore." Like, oh shit. Right? That is pretty cool. So yeah, I haven't heard any more about that. But again, man, I just want the Panthers to be healthy. A lot of the NFL is getting healthy at the right time. Yeah. Every single team deals with injuries from time to time, the severity of which varies. But, dude, I don't mind some injuries early on in the season if they get better when it comes time to play real football later on. And listen, J.C. Horn hasn't officially been ruled out for the rest of the season yet, right?
Yeah, he hasn't been ruled out as like there is a possibility he comes back towards the end, especially if we have a playoff push.
Dude, could you imagine all those dudes on the field at one time this season? Stephon Gilmore, J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, Dante Jackson, Jeremy Chin. Bro, if this pass rush continues to hum like it did through week 1 and 3, we might have something special here, CK.
Yeah, that's the hope, man. Like, especially coming off of a year last year where we were at a deficit for cornerback depth, like horribly deficit, was not great. Dante Jackson was in and out all year. All of a sudden now we have a buffet of cornerbacks that you can choose from in any situation. Like you can honestly at this point in time mix and match, right? If you're going to be playing, Mike Evans in the slot, well, guess what? We can pull over a bigger body, cornerback to cover you in the slot, right? That's not a problem. If you have a super speedy Tyreek Hill gunning down the field, well, guess what? We have a Dante Jackson that can keep up with him. You know what I mean? Those are parts that I think are that I think is most exciting about this squad is the versatility and also the ability to kind of connect the dots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Redson Patron asked what Shaq's status. I haven't heard anything other than that he's not practicing. I would not expect to have to have Shaq Thompson against Philadelphia. But again, man, I think we're really going to have to see Frankie Louvu step up in a big time way too, especially now that we have guys going down. I think Jermaine Carter Jr. Listen, man, that when people get hurt and, you have teammates going down left and right, you have to step it up even more.
Yep.
And we've already asked a ton from Jermaine Carter Jr., just him by nature of him playing Mike linebacker. Like, there's so much responsibility there. Also, considering who used to play the position for us, he has to have a big game, dude. All of our linebackers do. Now that we've added to this core of Panthers cornerbacks, man, we really have to continue to step up here. Hugo says, I hate to be that guy, but at the end of the day, I feel that the current OL will be our downfall for sure.
Yeah.
When we play the top dogs, they will get exposed. But here's the deal, Hugo. And remember me saying this, dude, and I've been saying it, the answers are already on the roster. The Panthers don't need to go and improve through the draft or whatever. Give Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown the chance that they deserve. And don't get it twisted, they deserve it. They deserve it. They have done everything that they've asked from them. Deontay Brown lost 70 pounds. Okay, when's the last time that anybody's lost 70 pounds? If you've ever done something like that, it's not easy to do, especially when you're a football player and you're an offensive lineman. And then on top of that, Brady Christensen played well in the preseason. He is an athletic tackle, one of the more athletic tackles that came through the entire draft.
Yeah.
So, dude, we have the players, man. This team can be even better than it already is. And listen, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they go out there and look absolute ball sack, and they're just terrible. But you're never going to know unless you get them the reps.
Exactly.
And it also lets you know what moves you need to make on your offensive line in the offseason. I mean, really, you know, if Brown and Christensen are not the guys, well, we need to know that now, don't we? I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I think wholeheartedly we need to see those guys showing up and see what they have. Like I said, I said it from the get-go. With this offensive line, instead of going and giving away more draft capital that we've already spent on Christensen and Deontay Brown, instead of going and spending more draft capital on the offensive line, you put that capital in them, give them a shot, and let them try to get better as well. That's another part of this. Let them try to get better. And if they can get better, I think that's the biggest part. It can't get worse than it is now. That's the thing that I talked about on Tuesday.
Yeah. And you're right, Levi. I really just did use the word ball sack as an adjective, bro. You never know what kind of crazy, dumb shit I might say on here, man. That's why you should hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, man. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. We would love for you to help us get there, man. CK, so I think that honestly, unless you have anything else that you want to mention here before we get off here, I think that does it for our little impromptu reaction stream, man. Loving Stephon Gilmore. Dude, the chat room is pumped. Everybody's so excited about Stephon Gilmore, man. I mean, listen, dude, we've never known a time like this as a Panther fan, dude. When our general manager is competent at his job, that's one. Feeling. And then making trades in the middle of the season to better our football team.
Yep, I agree.
What world do I live in right now, man?
I
don't know what world it is, but I love it, dude.
That being said, I think that's a good spot because I think they started the evening press conferences. So I think we're all kind of interested to see what Matt Rule and the squad has to say about the trade for Stephon Gilmore and everything. So you guys, we're gonna wrap it up there, right, Cody?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: if you had to jump off, it's okay. Do you think they would pull us if I reacted to the press conference? Because it's live right now. You think if I share it and play the volume, they'd kick us off? I
don't think so.
Would y'all want me to do that? Y'all want me to live react to the press conference? If you have to jump off, CK, you can.
No, you're good.
So you think I should? I just don't want to mess around and get pulled or some dinged or some dumb shit.
Yes. No. Lynn said no.
Then James Allen Panther says yes.
Sure. Live react. Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it, man. Let's just do it.
What's the worst that's gonna happen?
Yep.
Hurts. So I mean, there's guys obviously that we're excited to hear that we made that move, but at the same time, I think everyone's just focused on themselves and their job in this week.
Matt, was Dante one of those guys you talked to, and what does it say with Stephon and Dante going into contract years about kind of the future of the position and how you?
Good question. Dante's future.
I'm not going to say I talked to this guy or that guy just because I don't want to keep those conversations private. Dante Jackson, nothing we do with any other player affects Dante Jackson. Okay, Dante Jackson's an outstanding player, captain, leader, the ultimate brand guy on this team. And I personally,
he's getting cut
in season for the season to win games. every contracts and all those things. We're going to try. I think we're going to try to be an operation that does things at the end of this, after the season. I mean, if we start something in the off season that carries into the season a little bit, that's fine. But we want everyone's focus on this season, and so. But nothing that we do, whether it was CJ or this, impacts Dante Jackson. He's his own separate entity, and he's someone that is a high priority for me to coach as well as I can right now and help him be as successful as possible. And I think he's playing great. I think Dante Jackson's playing great football right now. He's one of our best players.
And that's the truth, man.
Sounds like JC and some of those other young corners like CJ, Stanley, just their development. Be able to learn from those guys.
I hope it's positive. I mean, when you're a corner on this team right now, Rashawn Melvin, AJ Boye, two elite professional veteran players. Now you add another one in, Stephon Gilmore, Dante Jackson's a captain. That's a really strong, healthy room and healthy secondary. And you're gonna look up at some point here, and we're gonna have Miles Hartsfield back. We're gonna have Justin Burris back. We're gonna have Shaq Thompson back. So, but again, we don't have those guys this week. So, I'm happy to answer all these questions, but my focus really is on the Eagles, right? And trying to get this team to play our best this week.
Someone better talk about
as many
this
good players and
offensive
guys who
line,
love football
man.
and know what it means to be a pro around here as possible, the better we'll be for all the young players.
Shaq won't be playing this week. Do you know how long he might be out?
I think there's a chance for Shaq next week. I think we're thinking it's like at least 2 weeks, so outside chance for next week, and then if not.
Ooh.
I think obviously we didn't put him in IR, so we're hopeful that it would be the following week.
Might be 2 weeks for Shaq Thompson, y'all.
We'll use a committee approach. I'm not going to get too much into scheme, but we have lots of guys that have practiced with us that we know the system and know what we're doing, and Jermaine Carter and some of the one linebacker defenses that we're playing. He'll take on a greater role. So he did that last game, right? So he was going in and playing alongside Chin in the dime. So we'll just continue to play Jermaine. But then we'll also have some other guys up. We activated Kamal Martin, which was important.
You were talking about Jalen Hurts just a moment ago. What are your impressions of him and how he's come along so far in his second year?
I mean, you watch this last game, 30 points scored. I forget, like 434. I think it's 434 yards of total offense. I think he's third in the league right now in yards per carry at 6.6. He's their leading rusher. He's throwing deep balls at a rate more than anyone else. I think he's been really explosive. So I think Jalen can affect you with his arm. He can also affect you with his ability to escape the pocket and run, design quarterback runs, and then all the RPOs that they do. So it's a real challenge, to be quite honest. A lot of stuff we did last year that, people would say, that's a college defense. That's perfect defense for this offense. So we've experienced a lot of life like this, and I think Coach Sirianni and Shane are doing a great job offensively up there. And they scored a lot of points. They were right in it, with Kansas City. And so I think Jalen, I've had a chance to coach against Jalen in college. He's an excellent player, tremendous competitor. He's a leader. He's tough. He's doing a great job for Philadelphia.
Cameron Erving, missed practice today. Do you expect him to be ready soon?
Just missed practice today. I'll have to take it day by day.
There's the O-line question.
Day by day. Cam Erving, day by day.
Trenton or Brady would step into the lineup, and we put the pads on today in practice so that
Trenton.
we can see guys. Some of those other linebackers and some of those tackles. We really competed today. To make sure that we're ready to go this week, and then B, give a chance to get an eyes on some people.
Is this a situation what you drafted Brady for, though, potentially, man?
Yeah, I mean, we drafted. It's like I told Chuba at halftime. We drafted you to play, man. And Trent played a lot of good football for us last year. I have a lot of confidence in him. He had that shoulder surgery, and I feel like watching him practice.
Ask about Deontay Brown.
But yeah, we drafted Brady to play, and so you got to go do it. And so if this is a week for him and Trent, we'll if it's a committee, it's a committee. If it's both of them, it's both.
Do you understand why we were asking? Not just because Gilmore's such a great player and everything besides that, but for all of us who've been here for a long time, 15 years, if you made more than $2 million, you weren't traded for, or you weren't signed as a free agent with the Panthers. Everything wasn't that way. You and Fitterer and now Mr. Tepper come in, completely changed the dynamic of that and being aggressive. And was that something that you and Fitterer and Tepper talked about? Like when you three got together, saying, hey, we want to be aggressive in the market and free agencies and trades?
I'd say I want to make sure I answer. I don't know that we talked about it. I just think, this is the way Scott's wired. This is the only way I know, right? Like I don't want to sit around and wait to win. I also don't want to do things that jeopardize the future. I don't want to take shortcuts. So, I always look at everything as, when it's involving draft picks, draft capital versus the player. And so, we have a good team right now, and, we're trying to become a really good team. We try to become a great team. And that's both with the way we practice and prepare, and then making sure we, again, bring as many good players in as possible. So that's the level, that's the level of aggressiveness. I can't speak to how it was before. All I know is, when there's opportunities for trades, we look at, if we make one trade, I can promise you, I got phone calls about 10 other ones from Scott. Hey, what about this? What about this? So, he's
10 other
constantly
ones?
working, and Pat and Dan
Wow.
are constantly working, and Samir are constantly working. That's all I really know is that, like, whether it's trading back in the draft or drafting all defense the year before, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm just for me, and I know for Scott, we're just doing whatever we think is best in each situation. Hopefully it works out. They're not all going to work out. Not every move's going to work out, but I think when a guy like Stephon Gilmore, that level of player and that level of person, you feel really good that it'll work out in the best for everybody.
I think at some point, maybe a few weeks back or even before the season, you said Taylor would be the backup left tackle. So, if Cam doesn't play with Taylor, go over to left tackle, or would you just keep him in right?
It's possible. It's always possible. But he's got a lot of sets at right tackle. So I think part of it's seeing how Cam works out, and then just Brady's been practicing at left tackle, Trent's been practicing left tackle. So I think anything's possible, but it's kind of a quick turnaround, real quick to get out to a Wednesday practice. So.
Big nothing burger. Y'all heard him say nothing right there?
Field thing. How do you feel like it's looking for in terms of whether or not you feel comfortable using it?
Said absolutely
it's
nothing.
Just a process, right? It's, hey, I ran. Hey, we do all kinds of testing. Then it's, hey, I practiced. Hey, I recovered. Then I practiced the next day more. Then we take it all the way up until the game. Like, as long as nothing, as long as nothing reacts poorly, and as long as he feels like he can go full speed, I'm not going to put him out there or anybody out there if they're going at 95%. So, we're just kind of, it's like a protocol, you check each box along the way. So today, he got through Wednesday practice. He was limited. We see how he responds, come out tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be limited tomorrow, but you put 2 good days, and Friday goes out there and take it all the way up to Sunday. And I think when you get to Sunday, if he's responded well and he feels good, then we play him. And if he's not there, then we don't, so it's hard to guess along the way.
Using him in a limited capacity be something you're open to, or is it more you were not going to play him unless you can use him to his full capacity?
As long as he can go full speed, I would use him. Yeah, if it's less plays, more plays, all those different things. I think, like, we had guys on pitch count last week coming off of injuries and stuff like that. So we do that all the time with guys. So, and I'm really comfortable right now with Chuba and Royce and Rodney as well. So, I think we would, but again, it's hard for me to predict the future and where he'll be. I've done this before with you guys, and I come in the next day and I'm like, hey, we had it. So I just think with any of these guys when they're injured, I'm just trying my best. Like, hey, as of today, this is what I know. So
I'll answer you, Oren. Hold up. Give me just a minute.
Into how much he did, just schematically, but we'll see how he ends up.
I'm curious, how did Shaq get hurt? Of course, we saw him finish the game, but was it potentially turf?
I don't know that. I think he's had this injury once before. I don't know if it's the other foot or not. Shaq's tough, man. He finished the game. I think if it was up to him, he'd be playing this week. I don't know that. It just, I think he strained the plantar in his foot. So I don't know that answer, to be honest with you. I hadn't asked that question.
Last week, you guys asked DJ a little bit in the backfield. Obviously not in the same capacity as Curtis did a year ago, but could you see him kind of doing similar stuff as Curtis did last year?
Yeah, DJ can play tailback. He's, like I said, if DJ was born, like when I was born, he'd be an I formation tailback, and I say that with the greatest of compliments to him. He's got balance and power. I'm like a don't run out of bounds type of guy. And sometimes I'm like, hey, run out of bounds, man. Get out of bounds. Like, there's no more yards to get. He loves to try to jump over people, run people over, cut back. He's got that physical skill set. So just like, we handed the ball off to Tommy Tremble 2 weeks ago. We try to be positionless on defense. I think we're evolving like Curtis was last year, and Tommy's starting to do a little bit of trying to be positionless on offense in some ways. And so, when Christian's out there, he can play wide out and play tailback. DJ, I think, is a guy who can do both as well. Thanks, guys.
All right. You just heard Matt Rule speaking. about the dynamics of this trade that just went down. So, CK, did you take anything from that?
No, I mean, he's
'cause-
doing exactly. Honestly, I think he's doing exactly what he needs to do, what he should do, which is not release any information to us about what his game plan is. It's because, I mean, obviously anything he says in the press conference will be used against him on the court of the field. You know what I mean? And so I don't think he said anything special. I don't think he said anything that was out of the ordinary. Am I upset? No. I know you are, because you hate that he's not answering the question about whether or not we're going to be moving our rookies in. It's clear that they don't have intention of playing Dante Brown at this point in time. Right?
Yeah, and no one asked about it too. So listen, to answer or it was asking me what's coach going to do in that scenario. My issue is this, though. It's that he's 100% telling the truth when he's telling you that Cam Erving being day-to-day and his injury status is the real thing that's going to determine whether or not Brady Christensen plays or not. And if you want to keep that to the vest, fine, that's whatever. But we know that that's not what he is. If Matt Rule is given the option between playing Brady Christensen and Cam Erving, we know that he's going to play Cam Erving.
Right.
And all of us are going to hate it. And all of us are going to know that he's probably going to be at risk to re-injure himself. A lot of people continue to forget that Cam Erving has been injury plagued damn near his entire career. That's why we were all saying that it was inevitable that if Taylor Moton was going to be your backup left tackle, well, then it appears as though this is the type of scenario that would start that to happen. We keep on kicking the can down the road, and I just don't understand it, man. And then the Deontay Brown thing, like, I don't know. I mean, none of our beat reporters ever asked specifically about Deontay Brown. So we're going to try and change that. Whatever beat reporters that we have on Wednesday nights, we're going to try and, get that question into their mind so that it can at least be asked to them. But listen, I really don't think that we're, especially considering what the coach is saying, like we're going to play Trent Scott before we do Deontay Brown. And that's just the truth of it, man.
Well, I'm glad that Sideshow Rob is enjoying his time with the Jews.
Yeah, he woke up. He woke up to the Jews.
Oh man.
Yeah. Sometimes you do that, man.
Hopefully they're treating you right over there, Sideshow Rob.
Sometimes you wake up, you smell matzo ball soup. It smells really good.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, like I said, it's exactly what you expect out of a coach nowadays. It's everything's kind of zipped up.
Yep.
Even the fact that they're talking about Christian McCaffrey the way they are, it's because they're trying to force them to prepare for Christian McCaffrey being in the game, even if he's not. There's still it's still some value to kind of keeping some of that information close to the vest, and not knowing whether or not. I mean, the thing is like they're going to assume Cam Erving's not going to be playing on Sunday, right? So they're probably going to try to attack that side either way, even if he is playing, because let's be honest, that was a weakness last week. So why not go ahead and just continue to attack that side? Whether it's a rookie or Cam Erving, I don't know that information is going to give a competitive advantage to the other team. But I do understand, like he's kind of drawing a line in the sand. I'm not going to say anything more than what I'm saying, and that's it. And I like I said, as frustrating as it can be, I respect that, and I'm not going to dig too much deeper into it. If he continues to talk so highly about players and then lets them go the next day, I'm more infuriated by that.
Yep. It'll definitely be interesting to watch going forward. If Cam Erving doesn't play, what's going to be the formation? Are they going to put Taylor at left tackle and put him there? Because, hey, that might be the best case scenario. What if Brady Christensen flashes and proves himself to be a franchise left tackle? Like, that's the dream. But then, hey, they might end up putting Taylor Moton on the left side. Mm-hmm. Now, I would say that's probably the less likely of the two scenarios. Yeah. I think that they would probably stick Brady Christensen at left tackle.
Yeah. I mean, that's I would probably agree with that. but we'll see. I mean, like I said, it could be a situation where if Brady Christensen ends up getting just destroyed, then maybe they try to move him to the right and see if Taylor Moton can hold his own. I could see this game against the Eagles being a experiment, if you will, like in multiple ways, because they have a defense that isn't necessarily the greatest, so it might be the best time to actually explore those options.
I definitely think it is. Well, CK, we did it, man. We did this impromptu show, brother. I appreciate you coming on at a moment's notice to join me and come hang out with me. Hey, I want to give a heads up to everybody in the chat room right now. Me and Tony are going to be going live again tonight. We're going to have some incredible interviews for you guys. We've got some editors from Cat Crave. We've got a Philadelphia guy coming on to talk about the team. And me and Tony Dunn are going to be recording another episode of Debate My Take, which I'm sure that's going to be extra lit tonight, and especially in regards to what happened today. So, hit the like and subscribe button, you guys. If you haven't done so already, we're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Hit the notification bell to get an update whenever we go live tonight on this very channel right here. My name is Cody Lashner. You can find me on Twitter at CodyLax, CodyLac. I'm also the Panthers analyst for DraftTech.com, where I write picks for the Carolina Panthers. Holler at me on Twitter. CK, how can they find you, man?
You can find me on pretty much all platforms at Codizzle Allen. You see the spelling down there underneath my face. Go follow me, Twitch, Facebook Gaming, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the places where the kids go and put videos up on the internet now. Go give me a nice little like and follow, if you will, and just keep an eye out on the channel, guys. We do a weekly, a lot of you guys may be new to the channel. We do a weekly Madden simulation of the game upcoming, and I try to make it as real to the actual rosters as I possibly can without, having a specific, in and out report that might happen come Sunday. So just keep an eye out for that. Me and Cody commentate that as well as though you guys are watching a real game, hopefully trying to give you guys something to watch between now and Sunday so that the time doesn't just drag slowly as these weeks start to get really long as this season goes on.
And James Island Panther, we will be live around 9 tonight to do some interviews. It should be about an hour show. And me and Tony are going to record beforehand. So we should have a live stream, and then there's going to be a video after that tonight that should go up live on the C3 Panthers podcast YouTube channel. I appreciate everybody joining us. 128 people right now in the middle of the afternoon. Panther Nation, you're incredible. We love you. This is your man, Cody Lashner. I'll check y'all tonight. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace.
Keep pounding.